So I apologize in advance for the cleanliness of my car, but it's Kansas City in winter, and it seems that every time there's snow on the ground, about 2 days later, every single car wash in town gets full and traffic gets backed up onto the roads. So I tried, but unfortunately it did not work. Well, I told you I had some surprises. This is my brand new car. This is a 2022 John Cooper Works 60th Anniversary Edition. And no, your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. That is in fact British Racing Green, because only the ones that came to the US came in British Racing Green. And even more unusual, there's only 75 of them in the entire country. Of course, I can't leave well enough alone, so as you can see, it is not an ordinary John Cooper Works in its appearance. I've done a few things after buying it. For starters, I saw these wheels on another car on Facebook and I really liked them. These are New Speed RSE 12s. They are 18 by 7.5. Overall, great setup, looks really cool. Only thing that surprised me was I could use my stock regular John Cooper Works center caps. I couldn't use the floating ones that I had on my old car for some reason. Not sure why, but it's not that big of a deal. You'll also notice that the wheel gap is not nearly as wide as a typical car. That is because I have NM Engineering springs on this car, because I had them on my last Mini. I really liked them, so I figured why not use them on the new one. And for good reason I used them on this car. And that is because when you look at the window sticker, you'll see dynamic damper control. Part of this being an anniversary edition, there are a lot of different unique features on the car. These white door handles are unique to the anniversary edition, as are the Cooper scuttles. Now what I did change here is I had the red part of the scuttle wrapped in white. The white trim rings on the headlights and taillights are part of the package as well. There's also unique badging all over the car. These Cooper badges on the C-pillars are one thing. These very faint red rings around the car are another. And blended in with my MINIAC logo is the number 74. That's part of the Anniversary Edition package. We also went slightly off the traditional path and did a white trim rail along the front grille. And we added white insets to the front and rear badges. Just a different look. We also did a white sunroof delete and whited out the gas cap. This is typically black on this car. In this case, it is white. Now, I was going to do a white belt line. We thought that was a bit overkill. So it is going to probably get a black belt line at some point. You'll also notice the JCW Pro exhaust tips. This does have the Pro exhaust on it because that was something I wanted. And I really, really do like it. It gives the car a bit more aggressive sound while not being too over the top. I have heard that the car is making some popping noises and some burbling noises. So contrary to popular opinion or what you've been told, it does pop a little bit. But it is very quiet, and I think it's quiet because of sound deadening improvements over the years and not necessarily tuning. The car just feels more solid and a little bit more silent. Now inside the car we have Cooper sill plates, very nice. We have the signatures of John Cooper, Mike Cooper, and Charlie Cooper there, which is pretty cool. On the door jamb you'll see a sticker here. It says 60 years of Mini Cooper. And then it says 1 of 740. That is correct. There are 740 of these special editions in the entire world. And I have one of them. However, there's only 75 of these in the entire US. And there's only one that's owned by the MINIAC. So you might have noticed my bonnet stripes. Now, the actual 60th Anniversary Edition has a white bonnet stripe with a red pin on it. And then there's a 74 right here. We borrowed off of that. We changed this up a bit. The 74 is gone that was on the bonnet here, and we've incorporated it into the stripe along with my traditional logo for my channel. So the overall look is subtle, but at the same time dramatic. Now some other features on the interior, I have the JCW Sport bucket seats, which I love. They have a little bit of Alcantara right here on the headrest, cloth, which is really comfortable. Alcantara on the thigh rest. These are really comfortable seats, and I didn't notice this little green feature in these seats. I thought that was added in, but we think it might have been original to the seats from the get-go. Could be wrong on that. Let me know if I am. We also have touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and navigation. However, I prefer the Apple CarPlay because I actually do like it. Got my text messages here, got my phone, music, you name it, and this little menu right here, so I do have my Apple Maps on there as well. There's also one feature I never thought I couldn't live without, and it's the heated steering wheel, which is really, really nice, especially on very, very cold days. Overall, it's a very comfortable interior, lots of piano black surfaces, anthracite headliner, Harman Kardon sound system, gotta love that. The new ambient lighting's really cool, and the piping that runs on the doors. Overall, it's just an amazing car. Now, unfortunately, I am limited on where I can put my phone. As you can see, you can't do it on the gauge cluster here. It's no longer designed to allow that. I could get a cup holder one, but then I'd lose a cup holder. So I went to Pro Clips, and I ordered this, and it clips right on to this. So that should be just enough that I need. Now, I bought a mount for it, and I'm thinking of switching it out. So I bought this mount for my phone, and it works fairly well. But I think I might need something a little bit more beefy. So, well, not beefy, but something that might actually allow the phone to get easier on there and easier off. So I may actually order the mount that has the MagSafe charger and mount the MagSafe system to this. Run the wiring down, kind of hide it in there. Now, under the bonnet, aside from annoying car horns in the background because people don't know how to shut their alarms off, is the B46O engine with 228 horsepower and 235 foot-pounds of torque. Now, you may not think that this car has the dynamic dampers, but I've been assured it does indeed have them, which is why we did lowering springs versus coilovers. I thought about doing coilovers. It wasn't going to be possible with this car. At least not without disabling them, and I didn't want to disable the dynamic dampers because I'm kind of curious to see what it's like driving a Mini with dynamic dampers on it, not to mention driving a Mini with dynamic dampers and lowering springs. That's going to be an added dimension to this whole thing. So there's going to be a video where I'm going to talk about the dynamic dampers and what it's like driving around with them, as well as driving around with them on lowering springs. I got lots of videos planned for this car, trust me on that one. There's lots more to come with this vehicle. There's possibly some performance modifications, although there's very few out there, especially considering BMW has kind of modified the ECUs on these cars so that they don't allow tuning really. Kind of makes it difficult to tune them. They kind of almost override it, I guess. It's really strange. But we haven't successfully been able to tune a 2021 or a 2022 John Cooper Works, or even a 2021, 2022 Mini for that matter. And in case you were wondering about these trim rings, they are not vinyl wrapped, they are actually painted white. And for that matter, so are the door handles. They are actually white molded plastic. I'm looking forward to putting some more miles on this. It's just rolled over 1,000 miles, so there's lots more ahead for this car, and there's lots more ahead for this channel. Plenty of new things coming out for 2022. Okay, now I know some of you may be disappointed that I've gotten rid of my old car. Bandit is now gone. He's been traded in, and he has a new owner. So he's off somewhere in Missouri, and the new owner loves the car. 100,000 miles on that sucker, and perfectly reliable. Never had a serious issue with it. It needed a new windshield and it needed new brakes on the front when I traded it in. Otherwise, it was pretty solid. So I can imagine that the JCW will probably be the same way, but this is my first F56 John Cooper Works. I'm already loving it. I've always loved these cars, so the fact that I now own one just adds a little bit to the channel, adds a little bit to my driving enjoyment, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Now, I'm not going to drive the car today just because it's not one of those days to do that. But I do plan a driving video at some point, especially when I talk about the lowering springs and the dynamic damper control suspension. So that is a video coming up along with many others. So if you're one of the 75 lucky people in the US who bought one of these cars, leave a comment below. If you're one of the 740 in the world who bought one of these cars, leave a comment below. But if you like what you see on the channel, check out more content on this channel at the end of this video, and thanks for watching.